or he prays to Allah, but subhanallah he makes shirk, then you have, in order for you to be a Muslim, you have to know that this person, he is not Muslim, he is kafir. Because shirk is kufr, shirk is disbelief. And also Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab, rahimahullah, he wrote a small book called The 10 Invalidators of Islam. 10 things that invalidate your Islam. And number 3 was actually, Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab says, the one that does not make takfir upon the doer of shirk, or has any doubts that the doer of shirk is kafir, is not Muslim, or believes that the path of shirk is a correct path, then he himself is not Muslim. So we will go through step by step all of these 5 steps to fulfill kufr bitaghut, but first we will have to look at the dalil for this, the dalil that one has to leave shirk, and that one has to know and be certain that shirk is batil, it is useless, to hate shirk and mushrikun, to have the Muslimin as allies and mushrikun as enemies, and to make takfir upon the doer of shirk. Where can we find this in the Quran? This is found in the Quran in Surah 60, Ayah 4. So we will inshallah read this surah and take a look, read this verse and take a look at what it says. Allah says in Surah 60, Ayah number 4, there has already been for you an excellent pattern, an excellent example in Ibrahim, in Abraham. So here Allah says that we have the pattern, the excellent example by his prophet Ibrahim, and also Allah makes this a commandment for us to follow. We have to follow the pattern of Ibrahim. In many verses Allah says to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Millatu Ibrahim. Also Islam is often named as Millatu Ibrahim, the path of Ibrahim. So Allah says in many verses that Ibrahim was free from shirk. And Allah also says in a verse to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and to every Muslim, it is a commandment to say that I am in the path of Ibrahim, I am free from shirk. So in Surah 60 verse 4, Allah says and commands us to follow the pattern of Ibrahim, and he says there has already been for you an excellent pattern in Ibrahim and those with him, when they said to their people, Indeed we are disassociated from you and from whatever you worship other than Allah. We have denied you, and there has appeared between us and you animosity and hatred forever, until you return to worship Allah alone, or to believe in Allah alone. So Allah says in this ayah, Inna bura minkum wa mimma ta'abuduna min dunillah kafarna bikum. So we will go through this ayah and see its relations to kufr bitaghut. As we said, the first step to enter Islam is kufr bitaghut, and the first step of kufr bitaghut is to leave shirk. So surely Ibrahim, the prophet of Allah, he left shirk, and he knew and he believed with certainty that shirk is useless. And what did Ibrahim do after this? He said to the mushrikeen, we are disassociated from you, so we must make bara from the mushrikeen and from shirk. Ibrahim said, indeed we are disassociated from you and from whatever you worship other than Allah. And he says, كفرنا بكم. كفرنا بكم. This means we make takfir upon you. And also Ibrahim said, and there has appeared between us and you animosity and hatred forever until you return to worship Allah alone and believe in Allah alone with Tawheed. So we have the first step of Kufr bi Taghut, to leave shirk, to know that shirk is batil and it is useless, to hate shirk and to hate mushrikun, because Allah says in this verse, there has appeared between us and you animosity and hatred. So here is the proof for the third step of Kufr bi Taghut, to hate shirk and to hate mushrikun. The fourth step of Kufr bi Taghut, as we said, is to have the Muslimin as allies and the mushrikeen to have animosity and hatred to them and to have them as enemies. And Allah says in this verse, and there has appeared between us and you animosity and hatred forever until you believe in Allah alone. And we said the fifth step of Kufr bi Taghut is to know and to make takfir, to know that the doer of shirk, he is not Muslim, he is kafir, he is a disbeliever. And surely Allah said in this verse, Inna bura minkum wa mimma ta'buduna min dunillah kaffarna bikum. Kaffarna bikum. We make kufr upon you. O you people, who go and worship someone else than Allah, we make kufr in you. We deny your belief, we deny your iman. We know that you are kuffar, you are not Muslimin, and you are not in the religion of all prophets, and you are not in the religion of Allah, which is the religion of Tawheed. So, how can someone leave shirk? He has to leave shirk in rububiyyah. As we said, Tawheed rububiyyah is the Tawheed and the belief, and to believe and affirm that Allah is the only creator. So he must know and he must believe that only Allah is the sole creator of everything, of mankind, of jinn, of the sun, the moon, the universe, of everything. How can someone fall in shirk when it comes to Tawheed rububiyyah? It is if someone believes that Allah created the sun, but someone else created the moon, or someone else created the universe. Then this is shirk in Tawheed rububiyyah. So surely this person who believes that Allah created the sun, but someone else created the moon, we understand that he is not a Muslim. And then we have the Tawheed Asma wa Sifat. We said the Tawheed Asma wa Sifat is the belief, to believe and to affirm to Allah His attributes and His names and His haqq, the right of Allah, that it belongs only to Allah, and that only Allah has these attributes. No one has these attributes in a similar way as Allah. And we must affirm that only Allah is all hearer, all knower. Only Allah can hear our dua. Only Allah knows what we hide in our hearts, right? And also another haqq of Allah, another right of Allah is the legislation, because surely Allah said in the Quran, Allah said in Surah 12, Surah Yusuf, verse 40, He said, you worship not besides Him, you worship not besides Allah except names. You have named them, you and your fathers, for which Allah has sent down no authority. And then Allah says, Innal hukmu illa lillah. He says, legislation belongs only to Allah, and Allah has commanded that you worship not anything except Him. So this is the first commandment of Allah. He has commanded us to not worship anyone else than him. Also Allah said legislation is only for Allah, so this is a right that is to Allah. And in another verse Allah says once again, all hukum, all decision, legislation belongs only to Allah, and he said that Allah does not share this right with anyone else. So anyone else who takes upon himself a right that belongs only to Allah, then he has made shirk to Allah. He has ascribed himself to Allah. Or anyone else who gives a right to Allah to someone else than Allah, then he has ascribed a partner to Allah in something that only Allah has. As an example, there are many sects today, as the Sufis or the Shia, that hold in their Aqidah, in their beliefs, shirk and kufr. As an example, there are those who believe, for example, the Shia, they themselves have a sect that is called the 12 Imams or something like that. They believe that Allah has the power of earth together with 12 other persons. So they ascribe 12, not one, but 12 other partners to Allah in the power of faith, the power of the world and the universe, and how everything is connected. So even though they pray salah, even though they make many they have many parts of the branches of Islam, they do not have asluddin, so they are not Muslimin. And in order for us to be Muslimin, we must say and do in the same way that Ibrahim did to the mushrikun of his time. We must say to them, inna bara minkum, surely we disassociate ourselves from you and from those that you worship besides Allah, and we make takfir upon you. So we said to leave shirk in Tawheed Asma wa Sifat is to believe that only Allah has these attributes that he has explained about himself, and no one else has these attributes in a similar way as Allah. For example, Allah says that he is the all-hearer and the all-knower, right? The one who forgives sins. There are these sects that are called Sufis, Sufism. In Sufi, they believe, for example, they believe that their scholars who were pious people who now are dead and they are inside the graves, they believe that these people who are dead, that they can hear whatever we say today. So they go to the graves of these people and they pray to them. They say to them, they talk to them, and they say to them, help me so that Allah will forgive my sins. So surely they ascribe a partner in an attribute of Allah, all hearer, all knower, the one who forgives sins. But at the same time, mankind hears, right? I know that if I talk to another Muslim brother or a Muslim sister, I know that she hears me, because Allah has created us in a way that we can hear. But our hearing is not alike the hearing of Allah. Our seeing is nothing alike the seeing of Allah. So the Tawheed Asma wa Sifat is to believe the belief and to affirm all attributes and all rights of Allah only to Him, and to not ascribe partners to Allah in His attributes or in His right. Such as an example, legislation. It is a haqq of Allah, it is a right of Allah that Allah has said He does not share this right with anyone, abadan. He never shares this with anyone. So a legislator today, like the presidents in every country today, not just America, Sweden, England, even in these countries such as Iraq, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, right? Even in these countries, the presidents or the rulers of these countries